Hello, everybody. Hello. I'm so glad to see so many folks popping into the room on a happy Saturday in September. Happy Labor Day weekend, everybody. Happy day 881 in the Daily Antidote of Song. Thank you, Carolyn Wolf, and probably Christiana. Yep, there we go. We got our double signs over there. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much, everybody. Hello, welcome to another day of the Daily Antidote of Song. We're delighted to be here again in our September New Friends Month. We're sort of celebrating the notion that September is kind of like a new beginning. School is starting, people are meeting new people, and we're meeting new people all month long here in the Daily Antidote, singing with a different song leader every day, and many of them being brought to us by our fabulous hosts. So we're meeting their friends. And today, you'll hear more about this in a minute, but we are with Rick Palieri, who is bringing his friend Katy Carr, who's currently coming in from Warsaw, Poland, but who lives in London. We're going to say hello to both Rick and Katy, to everybody out there on Facebook Live. Hello, everybody on Facebook Live. Everybody do the RNA, all of the, yeah, there you go. All right, everybody said hi to everybody on Facebook. Facebook, we're glad you joined us today. And hi, of course, to everybody in the room. Hello again and welcome, Rick Palieri coming in from Vermont, one of our regular song leaders and hosts, and I'm so glad you're here. And hello, Katy. I have had your, Katy Carr coming in from Warsaw. I've had your song stuck in my head for about 3 or 4 days now since I first listened to it, and I love it and can't wait to sing it with everybody in this room. I know they're going to love it too. Hi, Aaron, running tech for us from Brooklyn, New York. Thank you for being here. Hello to Annette in California. Glad to see you. Hello, Aloysius in Western Mass. Glad you made it today. Hello, Natalia and Ida and Kitty and maybe a Whippy in the background and a Campbell in the background. That's our other Polish connection. I don't know, for folks of you in the room who were here, we celebrated Ida's, was it Ida 10th birthday? 11th birthday? While Ida was in Poland with her family. And all of us here sang with them, and we got to hear them sing in Polish. Thank you, Ida. I'm glad you guys are all here today, driving to somewhere and coming in to hear Katy Carr. Hello to Arlene in California. Glad to see you. And hi to Sue Sean in Massachusetts, Sheila in Florida, Deli in Maryland. Hello. Hi to Kathy with Kitty Cat. Nice to see you. Kevin in DC with his flute. Hello. Nice to see you. Carolyn in Boise, Boise, Idaho. Hello to Bronwyn in Victoria, BC. Nice to see you today. Michelle and Steve in Silver Spring. Hi to Dennis in Victoria, BC, another one of our lovely hosts and song leaders. Hi to Dan in Vienna, Virginia. Nice to have you with us today. Susan in Ohio of the famous quilt making fame. Nice to see you today. And I was just looking at my quilt yesterday. Christiana and Bob in Rockville, complete with flower crown and other assorted, oh, she's like in the full dress over there. I love it. Great. Thanks for being here, Christiana and Bob. Renata from Wisconsin, we're so glad to see you today. Renata hasn't been with us for a while. We were just emailing yesterday, and we're so glad you're back, Renata. Nice to see you. Hello to Luda in Victoria. Great to see you today, and lots of love to you and to everybody in this beautiful room. Martha in Oregon, glad you're here today. Storm in Massachusetts, glad you're here. Kathleen in Albuquerque, glad to see you. And hello to Ruth in Birmingham, UK. And who else do we have today? Caroline in DC, great to see you today. Holding up a something. We'll have to highlight you in a little bit, Carolyn. That looks great. Harriet in Chicago, Illinois. Hello, nice to see you. Bonnie in Boise, Idaho. Ralph in Victoria, British Columbia with Penny over there in the side with a few fingers. Hi to Nancy's Irish Cow in Washington State. I see some curly tops coming in from Vermont, or at least one of them. Just the top of your head though, Willard. We need the rest of your adorable face. Hello to Fred, coming in from DC, member of the DC Labor Chorus and a big fan of Elise Bryant's who sings with us. Hello to Spice and Liza in Baltimore, at least the Spice half and the Liza half. And Spice was one of our new friends this week. We got to sing with Spice a few days ago. Hello to something that says Sue Free. I'm very glad to see you today. Thanks for being here. Hello to Cheryl in the UK. Julie in Ontario with friends and family. That's beautiful. Beautiful background and beautiful to see you with so many other friends and family. Hello, Julie's friends and family. That's amazing. We're so glad to meet you all. Yay, and it looks like you're someplace beautiful. I hope you're having a great Saturday. Hello to Susan Miller in Seattle. Nice to see you. Hello to Mary. You might be new to us today, or maybe I've met you once. Glad you're here today, Mary. Not sure where you're from, but hope we'll learn as we're here. Hi again to Natalia. Well, that's actually Ida. And hello to Harriet, Sarah, Jenny in Suffolk, Sandy, Violetta. Hello. I'm not sure if you're new. Bob and Mabel and the Bears, Carol in Connecticut, LMG in in Connecticut. And everybody, let's take a deep breath. Whew. Yeah, that's me, Motormouth Central. I'm going to pass it to my left to Motormouth Central number 2, my favorite Rick Pagliari. Thanks, Rick, for bringing amazing Katy to us.
Well, Joe, this is such an honor to be able to share my friend Katy's music with our group. Uh, I've known Katy for a while now. We've talked quite a bit, and we both have this kind of passion because we're both from Polish families. And we both have went back to the old country to discover a little bit more about our roots. Now, Katy has done it in a much more in-depth way than I have because she's there right now. So, Katy Carr, welcome to the Daily Antidote of Song.
Oh, hello. Thank you so much for having me. This is so exciting. And, oh, have I muted myself? Oh, okay.
Now, Katy, one of the things is I wore this special hat in your honor. You see, this is a Stetson Stratoliner because for the old type of airplane that was flown years ago. And the reason that I did that was because you fly airplanes, vintage aircraft, I might say.
That's correct. And yes, I've always been fascinated with especially the aircraft of the Second World War. And of course, being from Great Britain, the one airplane that really saved our country from the Luftwaffe and German invasion in the Battle of Britain 1940, which would have been really in action at the moment, especially in September. It was coming to the end of the battle when the Polish Air Force joined and saved, I think, the result. Was the beautiful Spitfire. And it really was a beautiful plane. The contours of the Spitfire are delightful, and yes, it was something that hugely inspired me as a teenager. I wanted to join the Royal Air Force Cadets and started my flying experience there.
Now, the interesting thing about your music, Katy, is that you have been able to share a lot of Polish history through your songs. Now, in the beginning, you started out just sort of singing a lot of different types of songs, but I think that as you kind of went into really discovering your roots and remembering a lot of the stories from your mother and from your grandmother about the Second World War, that it lit a fire, and I mean this, lit a fire in you to be able to tell these stories that most of us don't know. And the song that you're going to give us today, I first heard about this when I was in Glasgow, and there was an old veteran. You know how it is when you're on tour. You go into someone's house, and especially if you're of Polish descent, and they want to share something with you. And so what he did was he got out his old army uniform because he served in the Polish army, but over in Scotland, and put that on me. And there was this little bear right beside, where he kept his uniform. And that's the story that you're going to tell us. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, this story is the most incredible story because it's actually a very global and international story. We're not just talking about a bear, but we're talking about a mascot of the 22nd Artillery Supply Company of the Polish Two Corps that fought at the Battle of Monte Cassino in 1944, and there was a Polish victory there after many, many months of fighting with 240,000 Allied troops fighting in this battle, over 50,000 casualties. And the story of Wojtek actually starts in Poland, although Wojtek wasn't actually from Poland. But it starts at the beginning of the First World War, We're now the 3rd of September, but on the 23rd of August 1939, Hitler and Stalin signed a pact called the Molotov-Ribbentrop Agreement, which meant that Stalin and Hitler would split Poland in half and take slaves respectively from each area. So half of Poland was designated to be, and Polish people were designated to be German slaves, and half of Poland were designated to be Soviet, Stalin's Russian slaves. And the journey, why I'm talking about this is the journey of Wojtek starts from the Russian quarter, the Russian half, where 2 million Poles were transported for slave labour to the gulags. And to cut a long story short, it was horrific there. Minus 50, people were freezing to death. Some of them never even reached the gulags. They had been starved on the 3-month train journey that went 20 kilometers an hour for 3 months. And it was the Sikorski-Maisky Agreement in 1941 that Stalin reluctantly after Hitler's invasion of Russia, reluctantly, and didn't inform all the Polish people in his gulags because he wanted to maintain a very large number of slaves in his gulags. But a selected few were allowed to make their way if they were strong enough to join the British troops. Obviously, it was an arduous journey of over 3,000 to 5,000 kilometres. And on the way, a few of these survivors of Siberian gulag camps that were on their way to join the Polish army that was then based in Persia had actually encountered this Syrian brown bear as a cub in Iran. So it's a very multi-culti history. So slaves of the gulags had found this Syrian brown bear in Iran, and they fell in love with him because their hearts were broken from being stolen from their homes, kidnapped from their homes by the Soviet Russian soldiers and transported to slave labour camps. And something in the bear ignited their sense of wanting and hope for life. And the bear wasn't being treated too well, so they were very happy to rescue it. But I didn't really think that they understood how big he would grow and how much food he probably would need. But he accompanied these wounded souls to, who were lice-ridden, who had been starved, to the British Army that was centred there. And the British Army had a real job trying to get these civilians, ex-slaves of Stalin, into some form of a military force, because they were starving prisoners. They hadn't got anything with them. They had no clothes. They were really in a poor shape. It took them about 3 to 6 months to get them ready for fighting. And as Wojtek is growing with the army, he's getting more and more used to them. They're teaching him tricks. They're teaching him things like, they say he smoked cigarettes, but he ate the cigarettes. He drank the beer with them. He held the beer with them. They were play fighting with him. He became a real brother of theirs, and the mascot of this particular company, who were beloved. It was their beloved Corporal Wojtek. They actually made him into a corporal, gave him an insignia, because they needed to have more rations to feed him, and that was the only way really that he became a corporal. So they were actually underneath him rank-wise. So it was a beautiful story of an animal that gave so much hope and love to wounded and poor hearts who were missing their home country and knew that they may never return home.
Now, you have this song that you wrote in honor of Wojtek, and we're going, folks, we're going to be, a little bit multicultural today, because we're going to sing in Polish. Not too much. We're just going to get a little taste, because Katy is going to be able to tell us the story, and we're going to sing with her in Polish, and it's going to be easy, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy. No, it isn't. No, the Polish language is not easy. It is second hardest after Chinese, according to my auntie. It is not an easy language. There are 7 cases, many declensions for every noun, adjective, so it's not an easy language. But for the purposes of this song, there's only one word in the chorus, which is Wojtek. So all you need to say is Wojtek. That's it.
That's it. Well, why don't we walk through it, and let's see if people will sing along with us, as they surely will.
Does anyone speak Polish here? Does anyone have any Polish roots or anybody? Anybody out there? I know Mary does. My wonderful friend Mary Skinner, who's now just gone back to the States, does speak, because we have been together for the last week. But we'll come to that in a minute. And I'll come to that in a minute. I'll explain a bit more about that. But yeah, so I will show you the chorus, and you're more than welcome to join me. I'll play it a couple of times before I start the song, and it'd just be marvellous if you could all sing along. It's just one word in the verse, the chorus, which is Wojtek. It goes Wojtek, Wojtek, Wojtek. Have you come to save my day? Okay, your turn. Wojtek, Wojtek, Wojtek. Have you come to save my day? The road is long and the river is so deep. Wojtek, my love remains. Okay, ready? Wojtek, Wojtek, that's lovely. Wojtek, have you come to save my day? Help me find my way back to Poland. I'm thousands of miles from home. Help me find my way back to the Daily Antidote and America, I guess. I'm thousands of miles from home. Wojtek, 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 have you come to save my day? Okay, this is the bit in Polish. Wypijemy jednego, drugiego, trzeciego, za zdrowie naszego niedźwiedzia. Pijącego, palącego, walczącego, żołnierza, naszego niedźwiedzia. Wojtka, Wojtek, Wojtek, Wojtek. Have you come to save my day? Have you come to save my day? Have you come to save my day?
Well, Katy, you know, the cool thing is that you have a little video of the song that we're going to share with everyone here. And do you want to say a few things about the video before we show it?
Yeah, it was filmed in Scotland because, as we know, just a little bit of history before I go into it. I wanted to film in Scotland because Wojtek ended his life in Edinburgh Zoo. And the reason why he was there and that he couldn't go back to Poland, because he was exiled with the soldiers after the Second World War and due to the effects of the Yalta Conference that was signed in February 1945 with the big three, Stalin, Roosevelt and Churchill. They redefined the borders of Poland and they allowed Stalin to have huge tracts of land and to create his Iron Curtain and Cold War. So it's a tough story. Wojtek does symbolise a horrific end of the Second World War for the Polish military, who were the third largest Allied coalition force after the US and UK in the Second World War. A very dramatic and horrific ending. And so poor Wojtek, he did live happily with the soldiers throughout the war, but during civilian life it wasn't allowed, it was illegal to hold a big bear in civilian company, although he was really tame, and he was placed under the care of the Edinburgh Zoo. And he died, I believe, in 1963, I think, yes. So I wanted to pay homage. My name is Carr, is actually from my grandfather, who comes from Dumfries in Scotland, so I have Scottish roots, and yes, and that's why you'll see some Scottish and Polish symbols in the video.
Okay, I think Joe might be ready. And we're getting ready. It's coming up. There it goes.
Have you come to save my day? The road is long and the river is so deep. Wojtek, my love remains. Wojtek, 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 have you come to save my day? Help me find my way back to Poland. I'm thousands of miles from home. Help me find my way back to Poland. I'm thousands of miles from home. Wojtek, 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 have you come to save my day? Wojtek, 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 have you come to save my day? Wypijemy jednego, drugiego, trzeciego, za zdrowie naszego niedźwiedzia. Pijącego, palącego, walczącego, żołnierza, naszego niedźwiedzia. Wojtka, Wojtek, Wojtek,
see. That was a lot of fun to be able to see that. And you're seeing some pictures here, Katy, of Wojtek.
Yes, these are genuine original pictures of Wojtek with the 22nd Artillery Supply Company, and here he is at the incredible Battle of Monte Cassino that opened the road to Rome and helped the Allies gain ground there. He was very much loved by everyone who knew him and will never be forgotten. So yes, it is an incredible story of love of an animal, but an animal that also shares the journey of being displaced from his country, loss of passport, never to return home. It's a terrible, terrible thing to lose your country, and so fitting a topic right now as we sit. With
This
so
is, Katy, one of the things I want to make sure that people understand is, even though that Katy writes a lot of things about past history, she's out on the front lines right now. She goes back and forth to Ukraine, helping to deliver goods, and she's supporting a lot of the people of Ukraine in concerts. And you're doing that pretty much all the time, aren't you, Katy?
Yes, it is with great honour that I have got to learn a little bit about the Ukrainian culture, and it's so important to celebrate that, because obviously with the Russian aggression that's happening right now, there is a plan from that side to annihilate anything to do with a cultural reference towards Ukraine, and to annihilate a history of over 2,000 years and a language, because the Ukrainian language is an old Slavic language. It isn't a Russian language, contrary to the propaganda that you may be hearing. But yes, to celebrate a people that are under attack, and to help them. And obviously, being here in Poland, the Polish people have been the most hospitable. We celebrate their hospitality here. 5.3 million people have been homed in this country, which is a testament to the wonderful humanity of the Polish people.
What do you think that playing your music has done, in this struggle?
I think my music has been written from a retrospective sense. So when I wrote my music, it was looking back at a situation that was horrific and brutal, and a memory that many people want or wish to forget because it was so brutal, and they couldn't heal because of a future reign of terror that faced them. The Cold War, which was a totalitarian horror of a regime that my mother grew through, was starved in, and the West have very little knowledge of this. And there was also a number of events like the Katy massacre, where Stalin had murdered, against the Geneva Convention, over 25,000 Polish elite military officials and officers, and had blamed it on Germany for so many years. So there is a lot of untold history, and a lot of history that needs to be rewritten in the West to be corrected. But I think with the current situation in Ukraine, this is a history that has become actual again, and Poland understands the idea of Russian aggression, because on the 1st of September, as I was talking before, there was the German invasion of Poland that officially started the war. The 17th of September meant it was a Soviet invasion of Poland that so many people don't know about, they don't understand, because they've had the history erased. So it's really important, and I think the Ukrainian people can connect with the Polish people for that reason. It is absolutely brutal what is going on out there, without going into details, and it is a terrifying situation for everybody, but especially young girls and women and children. Yeah.
Now, Katy, we don't have too much time because our Facebook crew is going to be going out. So why don't you give us a little bit more so that we can all keep Wojtek in our memory?
Right, so This is Wojtek, and I played it for a beautiful school in Warsaw the other day, which is why I have these flowers behind me. I was with one bouquet belongs to Mary Skinner, who's with us today, and one belongs to myself. So I'd like to celebrate flowers in Poland. Flowers are very much loved by Polish women and women across the world, just hinting to everyone. And this is Wojtek again. A woman always loved to receive flowers, but I'm just saying, it makes your day. So this is the refrain. Everyone can join in. Wojtek, 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 have you come to save my day? Shall I play the refrain again for everybody? Have you managed to get this? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. If anyone's playing on the ukulele, it's G, and then it's C, and then it's F, and then it's C, and then G. So you can join me. So it's Wojtek, 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 have you come to save my day? Wojtek, 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 have you come to save my day? Have you come to save my day? Have you come to save my day?
Well, Katy Carr, it's been so wonderful having you here on the Daily Antidote of Song. And hopefully, I know that you're just so filled with knowledge and history about things that we don't know about. There's another fantastic song that is a little bit deeper that maybe we'll get Katy to come on and talk about on the next time that she comes and visits. So I think that are we about out of time, Joe? Yes? No? Okay. Well, we have if anybody wants to ask Katy a question, we can do that, right?
We can do that. If somebody has a question for Katy, go ahead and just put your little hand up. We'll take a question or two. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Katy, that was so amazing. Like I've seriously had that song stuck in my head, and it's not one of the ones where you get it in your head and you just wish it would go out. I just keep gravitating to it. I love it so much. Rick, thank you for introducing us to Katy. What an amazing day. And Katy, we'd love to have you back and hear your more serious song. We're all a fan of serious songs and serious topics in this room. Thanks again. Let's show Katy how much we loved her song, please. And how about that video, gang? We put a link in the chat if you want to watch that again and laugh along. I think I've watched it like 4 or 5 times now. I just love it. Thanks so much. Do I see any hands for any questions? Or Rick, actually, if you want, you could ask Katy another question. You're a good question asker.
Okay, well, Katy, I think that the big question that probably everyone has on their mind is when you're going to come in to visit the U.S.
I've been so inspired by my friend Mary Skinner, who is here, and I would love her to come and talk to everyone. She is a US filmmaker from New York, and we have been engaged in sharing untold stories of history and celebrating our alliance as two women who are writing about this particular topic of interwar and Second World War stories. I have been completely inspired by Mary, and Rick. I can't wait to meet Rick. I love the idea of coming over, and I just want to come over today. I would like to be with you now. I have so many places I would like to see in America. I do have a love of being with. I have been to America before, so I have been to New York, Chicago, Florida, Connecticut. I have been to some lovely, lovely places in America, including Florida. I don't know if anybody comes to these places, but I just the idea of America makes me really happy. In North Carolina and hillbillies and like Georgia and all around America. I love it, and I just love to spend some more time there. So yeah.
Well, I'm sure you have a lot of new fans here, and I'm sure that we're going to have some links to all of your work. Will be on the Daily Antidote of Song. Do you have any kind of links of showing you flying with your planes?
No, because some of them have been for military purposes, so it isn't something that I'm allowed to share. But suffice to say that, I was very inspired, and that stays very close to my heart. Music took over, and I'm focusing my efforts on writing songs and helping people heal their ancestral trauma from before. So that's my main work at the moment.
Somebody posted a see the plane that she's holding up over there, Katie? I think you've inspired people to kind of delve back and think about that generation that has passed. I, we don't have time this time, but Katie is the real deal. She goes out and she not only sings about things, but she went out and she visited with a lot of the veterans that she wrote songs about. She went into the senior centers and sang songs for the veterans who fought the wars. So she's not just somebody who's just singing a song. She's out there working on the front lines to really bring the history to the public, and also working on the front lines to actually bring help to the people who are in the struggle in Ukraine.
That's correct. And anyone who has any idea, I would really like to do a tour with Rick at some point because I think he's amazing. But anybody who has an idea for concerts, just let us know because we would really like to go with Rick and Mary and just go and visit some lovely people and just be around lovely people. And that's what singing is about, isn't it? Sharing lovely songs with lovely people and having a great, great time and receiving flowers. And actually, I have to say that the ones here, these ones are from Mary, but I have adapted them. Mary, say something. Can you come
Well,
up and say
it's been
something?
great having you here on the Daily Antidote of Song, and we thank Erin. Let's all thank Erin for doing all the fine work that she does, and for Joe, who without Joe, none of us would be here. And I don't know if you understand this, Katie, but this show has been going on ever since the pandemic started. And all of the musicians, all of the singers have come on here and volunteered to try to bring music and entertain and get us through these difficult times. And so we're glad to have you all the way from Poland to join in.
Dziękujemy bardzo dla wszystkich ludzi tutaj z Polsce. Thank you so much from everyone here in Poland for inviting me to come and sing with you today. So if you want to say hello in Polish, it's cześć, cześć. If you want to say goodbye, it's do widzenia, do widzenia.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Keep in touch. I'm on Facebook and I'm everywhere. If you want to say hello, I can send some Polish lessons for you if anyone wants to. It's hard, but I'm very happy to send some ideas. And thank you so much to the team at Daily Antidote and Rick Pallieri for being such inspirational figures during this pandemic. And I'm so thrilled and honoured that you've been able to grant me a few minutes to talk about this important untold history and stories of this wonderful country and this lovely place, Poland. I hope you come to visit one day.
Thank
Wow.
you so much, Katy, Carr, and Rick Polari. What an amazing day here in the Daily Antidote. Could not be happier. This was such a journey, and we really can't wait to sing with you again, Katy. So I think I'm going to shift it on over to Rick Polari for the goodbyes. Rick, are you feeling up for it?
Well, yeah, let me see if I can get the gallery view here. I'm looking for
I'll
everybody.
talk amongst myself while you're doing that. All right,
Uh,
I'm just kidding. So
um,
we can start by saying goodbye to everybody on Facebook Live. Thanks so much, everybody on Facebook, for coming. And while Rick is setting himself up, we'll just sit here and babble around a little bit, take up some space, learn to say goodbye in Polish again.
Do widzenia.